Admiral Bishop, you have the floor.
For 200 years, we have battled the Vandal. We have caught these attacks, raids, or skirmishes or incursions. But I am here to tell you that we are at war. Tiber, Orion, Caliban, Virgil, once human systems all but abandoned in the face of the enemy. The Vandal are at our gates. Weapons bared while we hide and cower. Retreating as they burn and decimate everything around us. We cannot let the tragedy of Vega happen again. We cannot give the Vandal any more ground. To defend this empire, we must attack. And we have to be committed to that attack, whatever the cost may be. We have to rebuild our fleet. We have to use the power of human innovation to reclaim these so-called red systems and strike back at the enemy. This will not be an easy fight. It will cost us in resources, in credits, in lives. Well, some of you may be asking why undertake such a thing, and I can tell you in one word. Victory! For if there's one thing the Vandal has taught us, it's that without victory, there can be no survival!
Pretty awesome speech, huh? Now, what if I told you that the voice that you guys heard before you was none other than Gary Oldman? What if I also told you that Gary Oldman and Mark Strong's first appearance and first work together since Tinker Soldier Tailor Spy would be in Star Citizen? What if I also told you Andy Serkis, Gillian Anderson, Liam Cunningham, and Mark Hamill are in Star Citizen? Yes, this is really happening. So, major developments from Star Citizen Con 2015. Mocap trailer, whole bunch of slew of information. This game right now is very much changing the face of PC gaming and changing the face of gaming, period. And they're setting the bar very high for what 90 million should be giving you as a consumer. And they're setting the bar extremely high. Gary Oldman states that he is Chris Roberts is some sort of George Lucas of this sort of thing. And at this point, he very much is becoming correct on that matter. So this game is very much, you guys are witnessing gaming history, as this game is easily becoming one of the most revolutionary PC titles in the last 20 years, easily. This is the Foxhole feed, episode 16, Star Citizen Edition. Hello and welcome to another amazing episode, Foxhole Feed, episode 16, like I stated before, Star Citizen Edition. So Star Citizen Con happened this weekend, and yeah, lots of amazing news came from it. All-star cast, still shocked about that. Andy Serkis, Mark Hamill's in it. of Star Wars fame. Oh Lord! So there's a lot of amazing actors that are acting in this. We're talking about like all-star A-list actors acting in this, which is pretty fucking badass. And a trailer you guys see, not trailer, excuse me, but the behind the scenes you guys see right in the corner of the screen there is of the behind the scenes, clearly, of the single player of Squadron 42 that comes with Star Citizen. Now, it's showing them going to mocap suits, and they're doing a whole bunch of, you know, crazy shit, and like they're showing like footage of everyone together and doing a whole bunch of cool mocap things, which looks really, really badass. You kind of get a understanding of just how the game is going to be. Now, Star Citizen, having a single player component to it, still lends to the overall game itself. So before I get into this, I want to explain away what it is. I know many people sort of get confused when they hear about the single player component, and, you know, have an understanding that, well, the assets or the things that they're seeing in a single player component don't transfer over to the overall, you know, MMO portion, I would say, of the game, or the persistent universe of the actual game is what Chris Roberts calls it. But that's not true. Everything that you see before you in terms of the, you know, animations, and I know that earlier in here they show something with facial animations and stuff, but all of those things are actually going to be in the final, you know, persistent universe of the game. So Squadron 42 is indeed the single player portion of Star Citizen, but nothing in the single player portion of Star Citizen is not going to carry over in the persistent universe edition of it. So anything that you see, the graphics, how the characters look like, how they're animating, all those things will be clearly in the persistent universe after the game is complete. So the single player portion of it is, I would consider no different than maybe the single player portion of Fallout or something, where you have a main quest and then you have your other side quest stuff. That's sort of how I might say I mean, that's a bad example. I can't think of a better example on the spot, but that's sort of what I mean by that. And I don't want anyone to get confused and to think that Squadron 42 is one thing and then that Star Citizen is something else. Yes and no. What you see before you in terms of quality will be in both games. They are the same game. This is just a single player version or portion of it, but everything you play and do will be able to play and do in the persistent universe, as to not get confused about the level of quality you see. That is what will be expected in the actual final game. Now, Star Citizen, having Chris Roberts, you know, directing it, in terms of he's directing it like a director would direct it in terms of a film. He's literally directing Gary Oldman and all these, you know, big actors, and, you know, he has to direct them to tell them what's going on. Now, I'm going to link all the information below for you guys to see for yourselves. And he goes on to help everybody, or help direct everyone in terms of what's happening, because this is different from voice acting, where you're watching something on a you know, camera, and, you know, you're watching something on a teleprompter and then you're reading. You know, this is different from any type of other, you know, art form, I could say, because you don't really have the freedom of merely watching what's going on and, you know, saying it. He has to tell them that you're sitting on a chair and that you're wearing a really awesome suit. He has to tell them that, you know, this, you know, thing you're looking at is like the modules and stuff. So Gary Oldman goes on to explain away, like, these are the things you have to, you know, tell them that they're looking at, because the motion capture of the facial animation and their body language, they have to know what they're looking at, because they can't see what this is being animated into, thus they have to be told it in terms of directing. So it's a very difficult process, clearly, in terms of directing people to do this, but this is really no different than how you direct somebody really in a film, but it's much harder. So not only are they trying to direct this like you would direct the film, it's much more difficult. You have everything that you have in a film in this. You have clearly the actors, you have the animations of them, you have just so much packed into it, that with the actors and the plot and the story and all of these things, this is no different. And mind you, I'm doubtful that's going to be something short. You might be talking about something that might be, you know, 15, 16 hours. So easily with the animations that are going to be taking place and the acting that's going to be taking place, even if it's, even let's say it's short, let's say it's 10 hours, okay, and that's 10 hours, and let's say of gameplay it's, you know, clearly a little more than that, that's still a lot of voiceover work, and that's a lot of acting that you won't normally get from a film. You're not going to get no 6, 7, 8 hour film, you know what I mean? So it's a very arduous process to do, on top of what he states, acting blind. Now the next video you're about to see is going to go on to show the level of facial animations that they have inside of the game currently. Now the facial animations that they're showing off in here are going to be in the final game, or they're going to be in the final single player, but they're also going to be in the persistent universe, like I was stating before, not to get confused that though Squadron 42 is a single player portion of Star Citizen, everything you see before you is going to be in the persistent, you know, universe, or the MMO portion, or the portion, the meat of what everybody's going to be playing, I would say, is going to be in that. Now what you're seeing here is you're showing sort of the process that they're going to make the facial animations look the way they look, and the lighting and all the, you know, crazy things they did to make them look very realistic and to make Gary Oldman's performance so believable. Now because they got him in mocap and they have them doing all these different facial stuff, they still have to go in there and clearly rework them to make them actually work properly. The quality of this is really high. I mean, we got some console games that have this level of fidelity, I would say near this level. Let's say stuff like The Order or stuff like Until Dawn, but even those are not to this, you know, extreme level. They're close, but not to this, you know, extreme level. This is slightly above those games in terms of having a very extreme level of detail. There's another mocap model that they're going to show in a little bit that just looks extremely like scary detailed. It looks amazing. So they're showing they're taking the single player really seriously. I mean, this is looking like it's high level AAA, you know, PC work, the type of, you know, stuff that you would normally, you know, see a company go balls to the walls for if they were doing a console type of AAA game. And this goes to show you that, of course, crowdfunding is the only way you would ever have saw something like this on PC. This looks like damn near stuff you got from like GPU demos from back in the day you would get from it. It looks shockingly amazing. Some of the stuff I didn't even realize I was looking at that was actually, you know, engine work. You know, it looks like you're just looking at something that's CGI, which is pretty scary. So it doesn't look like the CryEngine 3 anymore. It definitely looks like different. I mean, the early stuff that we saw before, you know, clearly was early work stuff. It wasn't like finalized, you know, things. So this is what you're going to expect from the actual final game to actually have this level of fidelity, which is really important if you're trying to, you know, sell that universe and that world. Now, the press demo that they show in front of you guys here shows them heading from the actual like base ship, and all their crew and people are going with them, and they're going to go in, they're going to select like a ship from like the computer to show them where they're going to go. They select the ship that they want, they go to a specific hangar, and the ship is like massive, so they go and they select what ship they want, and it tells them where it is on like what hangar and what area, and they go there in real time. And as they're heading there, you know, everything's happening, you know, live, real time from one area to another, and the planet looks like really awesome from space. I feel that with some added effects outside, they could sort of nail that space feeling, but it's like, we don't really know what it's like in space. I mean, only space people know what it's like in space. Only astronauts know what it's like in space people. So it's difficult to really describe exactly what they might be talking about or how it might feel there. So, but I just think that, you know, some added effects might be useful. Every single time they're in space, it's like it's hard for me to get that they're there. Like, it just feels like they're just in an empty like area. Like, I never think of it like space, and I feel that maybe some added effects would be nice. It just looks like they're outside at night somewhere. But Clearly, I mean, what's added? I mean, this is all alpha stuff. I mean, they're gonna add other stuff. So I'm loving how the cockpits look inside of here. I'm loving how everything is looking inside their actual ship. It just looks awesome. So they're showing you all the cool turret features and all the cool seats they have and all the nice animations they have going inside of the seats, and the lighting and everything is coming together really, really, really nicely from what I'm seeing from this like little press demo that they had. I'll link to the bottom, what it looks like, so you guys can see the full video. It's a pretty long video. It's like 20 minutes. But if you're interested in Star Citizen, oh, believe me, it's a very interesting 20 minutes. It's pretty badass. And right here we have some preview gameplay of Squadron 42, and you got this cool ass ship docking in, and it's basically showing you all the real-time stuff. Like, he has all this cargo with him, and it's showing you so even though this is a part of the single player, a lot of this is essentially showing you stuff that clearly you're going to be able to do in the persistent universe portion of the actual game. So this is sort of showing like what happens when you dock in, what it looks like, docking in from like a small baby ship to like a huge mothership. I love the lighting in this scene over here. There's like, you could see all the lights going off, and there's this dude that's in the background who you'll see in a second, and he's sort of like soldering something or fixing something on a wing of a ship, and it's like you get these cool lighty particle effect things going on, and it really helps dig in that immersion of the actual game. Now, though this is the single player portion, I'm interested in it, but I'm far more interested in the actual persistent universe part of the game. So anytime I see anything like this, I'm busy thinking about how I'm going to apply it, like when I'm actually playing the game myself. So that's how I sort of look at it. I don't really look at it like here's what I'll expect to play, and I'm going to be happy to play the single player. I'm sure the single player will be really, really great. I'm just sort of looking at this footage and sort of imagining how this could be in the MMO format of you own a mothership, and you're docking out. You see there's that cool lighting stuff you see there. It even has like the little smoke stuff from it too. If you sort of look, you could see the lighting and the smoke around the actual, or the light around the smoke, which is really, really just wicked awesome. But I'm thinking about what I'm going to play and how I'm going to do these things myself. Clearly, if you ever get to a point of owning a mothership like this is the end game, I think, for any Star Citizen user, any person who's interested in playing this game and, leveling it up like a regular RPG. I think anybody who's going to want to play this game, that's the end game for them. The end game for them is getting a, base ship, getting a mothership of this colossal size. Because this ship is really huge. As you go through this demo is like 12 minutes. I'll link it to the bottom for you guys. It's a huge ship. So you have a lot of stuff that's in the ship. You have a lot of room. It's just all these people that are in the ship, all these crews, and it's like you're going to be having, lots of NPCs or even real people who would also be playing the game with you. So if you could, imagine owning a ship like this and having several friends that might all pull in credits together to buy something like this, and all of you guys all live on this one ship. The cool part about that is all of you guys could contribute to everything that comes with the ship, either when you're doing cargo runs, or if you're using it to fight someone, if you're using it for whatever your individual ambition might be, and in Star Citizen could be applied to that. Now, though I haven't really done a lot of stuff on Star Citizen, which I actually probably should do more on, I know anybody who's not familiar with Star Citizen may not 100% get what I'm referring to when I say this. Now, Star Citizen, in terms of the name, think of it like Star Citizen describes the person. So Star Citizen, as in, it's no longer, nations of, this, and the third. It's essentially citizen as in all the people and all the community that make up, this new futuristic universe. Now, that's going to be everyone from military people to people who do traders to people who own shops. If you think about what we have now in the world of, we have companies that create specific things, we have specific countries that do certain stuff and that create specific stuff, you have all the small things, all the small linguistics of people that help make those things happen. You don't just go to Walmart, and there's like a Walmart farm. No, when you go to buy something, Walmart buys it from somebody else, and there's somebody that drives that truck to bring that shit there. It doesn't just appear there. Somebody's bringing it there. There's somebody who has to run that. That's sort of how it is in Star Citizen. It means, the everyday person. That could be the person who's the miner. You could be the person that's an engineer, and the things that so you could be whatever, you happen to want to be in the game, or the set things that they have available for you. So if you happen to be somebody that wants to do that type of engineering stuff, or you want to be the miner guy, you could be the guy that mines for the material that the company needs, that builds ships, and then you could have another guy who's the guy who just delivers the cargo to the ships. I mean, the way I look at it is that you don't really have, in real life, the same person that mines it is the same guy that ships it, is the same guy that builds it. That is very rare, and you don't normally have that realistically in the real world anyway. That's something that you only would have in like a game like this. But even this game is lending itself to real world applications of individuals are the people that are doing these things. So if you have a friend that is doing these cargo runs, you could have another friend that's the engineer that is turning the stuff into whatever it is you'll be selling, and you could have another person that's the person who owns the shop that's fronting the money to make all those things happen. So lots of interesting things could sort of go on this. The only reason I'm talking about this now is this little preview demo that's showing the whole inside of this actual really badass ship. Is this really telling you just story stuff, or it's just giving you an open look at one of their ships? Nothing really that interesting. The facial stuff is a little weird. I know, but this is pre-alpha stuff, so you're going to get a lot of weird glitches and a lot of weird things that are happening. This is really to display, in my opinion, the scope and the scale and the size of the ship. Now, this is the same footage from the press demo that I was talking about earlier regarding them leaving the ship and doing multi-demo stuff. Really awesome stuff. Like they're linking the modules up really well, and everything is coming together nicely. This is essentially the multi-crew demo put together on top of the FPS module, because in this very same demo, like as you guys see here, like all of them have just made it to the derelict station that they're in, or so you say, or so you think, derelict station. You're not really sure if anybody's there or not. And as they go to what I would assume would be like the comm station type area to turn it on, it shows somebody shooting at them. So as they're getting shot at, they're going, and the main character like runs to go and get a gun, and it's like it's too late. Like some of his buddies got like killed. And in one of the scenes, I'm not even sure if like he's shooting somebody else, or if he's shooting his own actual like buddy or something. I don't really know, because where he's headed and like the person he sees, it just doesn't look, you don't really know if he's killing one of his buddies, because that's actually what it looks like happened. But yeah, so the four-man crew now turns into a two-man crew, and they leave and they go back into their ship and they go flying out. So the FPS stuff, like from the FPS module, being linked together, really cool. And showing that they seamlessly are able to link this and then have, the guns go away, and then you're back to, what you were, a second ago without it. So all of this is coming together nicely. I could only hope to see how well it comes together when they have the multi-crew and FPS module and landing on a planet simultaneously all together. That has to be extremely soon, if you consider linking those things together is not really that difficult, as much as full on development is difficult. So linking those things together is not as difficult, because we see them in individual forms anyway. So they exist in individual forms. So, who knows how it's going to eventually all work together. But seeing them separately and now seeing them put together is just really awesome. So I'm sure it's going to be something really deeply immersive. So that's all I got to really say about Star Citizen Con 2015. Lots of interesting news came about from it, from like the actors acting in it, and from the demos that they were showing, from the story part of it. You got to really see lots of cool stuff regarding it. I mean, the quality of it looks really, really good. Just for a second, I could show you guys, or have you guys hear how awesome, it actually sounds. So I normally don't go outside of the actual, video or the commentary of what I'm saying to show something, but with this game, it does tick. So here's a scene right here, so you guys could take a listen to. So as you may hear, it sounds really, 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 really badass. It sounds awesome, So that's the level of immersion that I think people are expecting. I can only imagine this in VR, where you're able to fully immerse yourself in something like this. I sort of almost get a Fallout type feel of it, where it's like the world is, a character. You're there for the setting of the world and the things you can do inside of this world. You're just a person surviving this world, per se. So that's all I really got to say about Star Citizen. I'll be covering anything else that they have for it. I might do another episode of this where I talk more in depth about the universe, about news, what have you. Now, I'm going to end this episode off with a new game that I've just read about, called The Park. So the footage you're seeing here is, real-time in-engine footage of this game. It's done by, what's the name, Funcom? Funcom did The Secret World. Is it called Secret World? Okay, I think there's a the on it. But they did The Secret World, which is like an MMO RPG that released like a while ago. It was like years ago, 2013, 2012, but they released an MMO. Apparently this is a spin-off to it, which I actually didn't know. I actually just found that out like a couple seconds ago. I didn't know that, but this is a spin-off to A Secret World, and it's about a lady that loses her son. So she's looking for her son in this theme park. They go in this park, and she lost him, and now she's running around and trying to look for him. It's they describe it as being narrative based, because she's lost her son before, or there was an incident about her leaving her son inside of a car when she went to go shopping or some shit. But there's some sort of past about this happening. Very interesting stuff. I like some of the work they've done, but this is the most interesting work I've seen them do. But I don't think it's because I feel that way. I think it's just because I personally like games like this, of this nature anyway. Though they haven't confirmed the VR, everyone and their mama is making, adding their game to VR to get that immersion. I don't see this team being any different. In fact, I expect them to announce it to work with VR. Apparently the game is only 2 hours long. Yeah, it's a 2-hour long game. I could see how that could work. So, 2-hour long type of game is not that bad. They state that her voice changes as you're walking around the park and you're actually trying to find her son. So it's definitely like a deep narrative. Like, we've been seeing games like this for a long time now, with games like Myst, or more recently, I would say, since that's an old example, more recently, games like Vanishing of Ethan Carter, Dear Esther, and all these other titles that have come out. Everybody's Going to Rapture, and Heavy Rain, and we've been seeing lots of games like this that are heavily narrative based, that are more so telling you a story about something. So through the game, you're going to see all these little documents like there about how the park got abandoned. Apparently there's all these different stories about people dying and all these things that happened in the park, that sort of let the world tell the story of it versus somebody's telling you. And I personally like that way of essentially telling a story in a game, sort of like how Half-Life does, or how Heavy Rain does, or how any game tells its story that way, simply because it's just the way real life stories unveil. Like, somebody's not, standing behind you essentially telling you all these facts and telling you all these things currently happening. you know, that's not necessarily how real life happens. So I would never understand, you know, why somebody would try to tell a story in a way that's not really natural. That's not necessarily how anybody tells a story. It's not how you learn things of your own life and your own story. So I definitely like this game taking that approach to sort of let those things happen very naturalistic. Don't see any set release date for this game currently, though they're not confirming it. I mean, you might as well expect VR. You also might expect it to be ported to the consoles currently now, considering their open infrastructures. So yeah, this is episode 15 of the Foxhole feed. You guys stay tuned, or excuse me, it's episode 16. You guys stay tuned for episode 17 on Wednesday. I'll be covering a lot more Star Wars stuff. Apologize for not even talking about Star Wars. It's just wanted to keep it focused on Star Citizen and the park, since it's a brand new game, or newly revealed game, that I wanted to cover out there. If I'm interested in it and I'm reading it, you know, it's important for everybody else to know about it. So this has been episode 16. Like, comment, subscribe, and yeah, this game.